Good afternoon, everyone. There's Michael Searle, there's Obama Spice, alongside Brad Swail, and I'm Charles Blain. Welcome back to another episode of the BCM Podcast. We are glad you are with us today. Make sure, let me just get this out of the way, like the podcast, share it on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, share it with your friends, your family. We appreciate all the viewers, and we need some more, so make sure you guys share it. How are you guys doing today?
Good. Excited for the show.
I'm excited too. This is going to be a great one, and you're welcome, Charles. I know that Ice Spice is your favorite rapper, so I thought I would have a little fun with it.
Well, great. We're 50% of the way there, but I'll take it.
Does she rap though, or she just kind of like mumble? I don't know. But go on.
It's mumble rap. But yes, so we've got a great guest today, State Representative Briscoe Cain, who has a lot of titles that we're definitely going to read every single one of. But we're excited. We're going to be talking about some legislative stuff, some federal stuff, just a little mix mash of things. And we might even talk about the missing princess in the United Kingdom. We'll see. But before we bring in Representative Cain, we're going to show you and tell you a little bit about him. And
this is a Republican representative from Texas with the greatest name ever, Briscoe Cain. Briscoe Cain. He sounds like an Avenger. Representative Briscoe Cain is in Philadelphia tonight, interviewing poll workers and watchers. He's volunteering for President Trump's legal team in their historic challenge against election results in the state. I would love to see President Donald Trump elected to a second term, but my really true main concern is to see, again, that we have a fair process so that people can have hope in their system of government. Briscoe Cain tweeting tonight, Robert Francis, my AR-15 is ready for you.
Listen, for the first time, I'm speaking up about my own experience with Asperger's syndrome, a condition on the autism spectrum. Members, right now, I suspect many of you are thinking to yourself, so that explains it.
Brad, as you were gone, was asking if that last clip of you talking about having Asperger's on the House floor was real. And I said, yes, it is.
Yeah, I know it's a real clip.
It's AI.
Oh, well, okay. That sounds like, maybe an Asperger thing to do. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a more efficient way of doing things.
Anyway.
And then last night, by the way, we were talking about Representative Vassit and I were together. He's the vice chair of the Freedom Caucus. We were discussing bills that we vote against, and he's got a daughter who's on the spectrum. And there was some autism bill last session that I think it was like a license plate thing. And of course, we were like, we got to vote against this. We were voting against this dumb bill. I'm tired of these special interests, special group thing. We're voting against our own bills. It was good.
Well, now they're not going to get those license plates. I mean, gosh.
Really important life-saving things.
Whatever will they do? Well, all right. So brief overview. I know you don't really like the whole bio thing, but you were elected in 2017. Is when you took office in 2017, correct?
That's
yes.
Correct.
And you currently serve as the chair of agriculture. So all things agriculture across the state of Texas, from corn to kale, falls under your jurisdiction, huh?
I've never used that breadth of things, from broccoli to kale, but yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. We have a big support for the kale farmers in Texas.
Good, as we should.
Gross.
So, you've been up to a lot of stuff. So tell us what's been going on lately. One of the things I want to kind of transition to after you tell us a little bit about what you've been up to is I know you've got a social media bill that's currently being considered by the U.S. Supreme Court. Is that correct?
That is.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that, but also tell us just what you've been up to generally speaking during this interim.
Well, just first one. So the U.S. Supreme Court is, I guess, hearing a lawsuit challenging both the Florida and the Texas Social Media Censorship Acts. What had happened was, so Florida's kind of got in trouble a little bit. So I looked at what the courts had said about Florida's and tried not to do that in order to, make ours more bulletproof to litigation. But it is up to the U.S. Supreme Court right now. Essentially, what the bill does, it says you cannot, for the large social media platforms, just you cannot censor them based on your viewpoint, with certain exceptions, violence and things that just unprotected speech. And we'll see where it goes. Right now, I think we might have one person on our side, Justice Thomas. Other than that, it's not looking great. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to predict that court, man. So we'll find out. As far as what's been going on lately, we just got out of the primaries.
Did you win?
Yeah, we won. We won.
Good.
I have just 5 boys, so been busy with them. We got rodeo season going on right now. And now the primary's over. I've got spring coming. And so really, like, I'd planned to be out the farm today. I've still got some mowing to finish up, trying to get my hay field looking good. And I mean, it's not funny. I need hay.
I know you're serious.
Hay is freaking expensive right now. Okay.
Why is it so expensive?
The drought.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
The drought.
What do you have on your farm there? Is it a ranch or a farm? What do I call it?
It's a little farm, man. And
Yeah.
when we come out of session, we get rid of things, and then we got to build back up. So my whole family, we're homeschoolers, and we all go to Austin, and so that means everything's abandoned at home. We'll be back going. Yeah,
It's pretty cool. Sweet.
it's the idea, man. We stay together. I've seen it break up too many marriages, too many families, people being separated from their district to Austin. And I'm also a guy, and I recognize I'm stupid. And I might do dumb things, and I've seen a lot of men do dumb things, seen a lot of women do dumb things in that building, and we made a decision to make sure that never happened to us, so we stay together.
That's actually really awesome that you do that. I mean, it's recognizing I'm a man. I've done plenty of dumb things in my life. Probably having your family there is helpful to keep your head straight.
Super, super helpful, man. And being a present father.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're Briscoe. I'm trying to catch up to you as we speak. Boy number 3 is coming on July 11th. So what advice do you have for me?
You're screwed. More than 3, like you probably heard that by now. Like once you're in zone defense, just embrace the chaos. There's no man on man anymore. Just go with it. Really, and like it doesn't matter anymore. If I had 7, I don't think I'd notice.
Right.
They start taking care of each other and themselves at some point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They entertain each other. When it's one-on-one, you got to entertain the kid and everything like that. But once you have more than one, they entertain each other.
Yeah. There's a sound level that it wouldn't matter if there were more people. It doesn't matter, man. Like you're already cooking big meals. It's fine.
Yeah.
What's an extra steak?
Well, I feel like you should be like the king of the rodeo because, that's your jurisdiction. Have you been down there yet to the rodeo? For those who are watching who aren't from Houston, we have the Houston Rodeo right now, and it's great. And Bun B was there the other day, and he brought out Drake and a host of others. Did you go to the rodeo this year yet or no?
I've been a few times, yes.
Good.
Yes, and the grand entry. And I had one of my 5-year-old do mutton busting.
Get out.
And he stayed on the whole time, so that's cool.
Nice.
We did a lot of training.
Is mutton busting where you ride a lamb? A sheep?
Some say it's where you get on a dangerous animal. Furry, woolly, dangerous animal. Some call them sheep. It's a thing that we do in the United States. Some people think it's crazy. We take 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. They got to be under about 40 pounds. We put them in a helmet and we just put them on the back of an animal.
Okay.
And just let them run loose.
Sounds like a good time.
That's freedom.
It does. It does. Freedom. I don't know. It's kind of funny when you really think about it. When you boil down what we're actually doing, I like it.
So I'm from the sticks of Northern California, and one of the events we had at our local rodeo was they'd literally chase down calves and put clothes on them. Do you guys do that one down here in Texas?
No, we have a calf scramble where these kids go and try and catch a calf, and then they've got to like bring it back to a square. And there's some scholarship stuff involved, or they could keep the calf and then raise it. Putting clothes on it sounds awesome.
Calf dressing. It's a thing.
I guess very California, I guess, huh? I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, fashion and cattle. That makes sense.
Oh, man. All right. So one of the things I want to talk about is an issue that we've talked about a couple of years in a row, probably for like 5 years in a row now. It's guaranteed basic income. And I remember when it first started I think it was in Austin and San Antonio kind of tested it out. And I went to you because I was like up in arms and this needed to be, stopped. And you filed a bill and I don't really remember what happened. But anyway, we still have guaranteed basic income, but I know you tried to fight it. Yesterday, I was reading Business Insider and the headline was Texas leads the way on guaranteed basic income. And so just putting this back on your radar that we need to do something about this again, because it's not done. And as you know, because you are in the general area, Harris County has passed their own guaranteed basic income program, and which may or may not be legal. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's up in the air, but yeah, could use some help there when you get back next session.
It's definitely not. Like, it's not. The counties can't do it. Is anyone actually doing it?
Austin.
Yes. Harris County.
Austin's sending out checks.
Yeah.
Austin is, and so is Harris County.
No, Harris County. Someone's actually got a check in Harris County.
Yes, but it's not. They're using COVID aid. That's why I guess there's that gray area right now, is whether or not they're allowed to use general revenue. Austin, I believe, is using general revenue, but I think the question still exists as to whether or not they can continue to do so. I was watching Stafford City Council meeting one day, and they thought about it, and then their city attorney was like, "No, this is illegal. You can't do it." I'm like, "Well, people are doing it, so I don't understand what's going on." So it probably is illegal, and they're just doing it.
Yeah, again, counties in Texas have to point to a law that authorizes them to do something. They have no general power. I've been surprised no litigation's been brought. So,
well, is this kind of the same idea with the law explicitly allowing them to do something behind like the Death Star bill last session, kind of allowing municipalities, forcing municipalities to only do things they are explicitly provided to do?
No, it's slightly different. Municipalities, for the most part, can do anything they want unless prohibited.
Gotcha. So it's the reverse.
Counties are literally creatures of the state government. They can only do what we authorize them to do. They must point to a specific authority to take any action. So people forget that one. Yeah, man. Sue them. If anybody wants to hire me, let's go.
Maybe I will. We'll talk offline about that.
Yeah, the city of Austin has been doing it for some time now, offering $1,000 a month, and of course they they evaluated it recently to see how people enjoyed the free money. Of course, they said, "Oh, well, it was great. We got to pay our bills on time or more on time." I don't know, and I think that Michael can maybe check this, or maybe he knows, but I think they reauthorized it, the city of Austin.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
it's $1,000 a month for 135 low-income families. I believe is the program.
The frustrating part with that is, it's immediate help, but this idea that it gets you out of poverty, like what happens when it ends? You're just broke again. And I was reading an article yesterday I was reading was in San Antonio, and they were talking about this woman. They were like, it was so successful, but then when it ended, she was unhoused. And I'm like, well, then it was not successful. Like it didn't work clearly. So it's frustrating that they try to frame this as uplifting people out of poverty when we know it's not.
Yeah, man.
So, question I had for you, there's a lot of talk about school choice, and it's looking more and more like maybe the House has changed enough to get something done there. So you can talk about that, but are there other things that we didn't get across the finish line last session that you're looking at this new House makeup and you're like, we're going to get some stuff done, and these are the issues I'm focusing on?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Look, I think we can maybe finally get, to ban taxpayer-funded lobbying, which I think is like, that's just a sexy topic to begin with. Like it must happen. Man, and by the way, I'm pretty sure some taxpayer-funded lobbyists watch y'all's podcast. So if you're listening, sorry, not sorry that you're going to lose income.
But keep watching, please.
Yeah, but keep watching the show, share it, follow it, and all that jazz. But we got to ban that. I'd like to do paycheck protection on teachers, automatic union dues deductions for them. Look, Arizona, did it before they got school choice. It's just a long time overdue here in Texas. It just needs to be done. It could also be used as an excuse for school choice. So look, we're not only going back for school choice, we're going to totally defund the teachers unions and defund, the government lobby arm. And so those things alone would be super awesome. Right now, there's a discussion since Oklahoma is kind of bragging about it. Some people want to bring back cockfighting. I'm not saying it's a priority, but it's a topic that could be discussed here today. So what do y'all think?
Is that is that a real thing that might happen? Is bring back cockfighting?
Oklahoma did it.
Let's just say if they make me chairman of agriculture and livestock again, I will pass it out of committee.
Well, naturally, we have gambling now. We might as well have cockfighting so that we can gamble on,
You have to have one without the other. You can't have cockfighting without gambling. Have you ever seen it?
Not? Why could you not? We could just fight them.
Wait, isn't it inhumane? Don't they put like razors on their legs, like straight blades?
I know they can. People could do that, and people could ban that. I'm not going to say we should ban anything. Okay, if people want to put lasers on chickens, that's their prerogative.
All right.
Okay, but like let them fight. They have spurs. What you don't understand is they have spurs on their legs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, there's appetite clearly for this kind of stuff because you just said Oklahoma did it. Mexico just brought back bullfighting. They banned it for a little bit, and they just brought it back a handful of months ago. So, I mean, bullfighting, whatever it is, matadoring.
I think bullfighting.
There's some other things that are illegal that shouldn't be illegal. In the agriculture code, and I've repealed a few dumb laws this last session, but there's some more that I want to repeal. Like, it annoys me that I cannot shoot a zebra and sell its meat in Texas.
Okay.
I'm bothered by this.
Is zebra tasty?
I don't know, but it's dumb that government gets in the way of these dumb things.
Sure.
And they're just fun to have conversation about. Like, why is this illegal? Whose idea was that?
I mean, is it something like it prevents the import of exotic animals that could, become wild in Texas if they get out?
Nah, man.
No, wait, Briscoe.
Some sausage packing days.
You told me a story about zebras in Texas. Tell us, wasn't it zebras? I think in like South Texas or something, or maybe it wasn't zebras. Maybe it was some other animal that would have gone extinct had Texas.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's 5 African antelope. The largest population on Earth is in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, government wanted to put them on the endangered species list, and had that happened, the ranchers that raised them would have just stopped feeding them, and then they really would go endangered.
Briscoe, I want to go back to the taxpayer-funded lobbying, which is something that I understand the arguments against, but wouldn't the city, say the city of Austin or Houston or whatever, they would come back and say, well, the Texas legislature, they pass laws that affect us. Shouldn't we be allowed to, come have our voice heard?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Wouldn't that be their argument?
That would be their argument, and they could certainly come up and testify or call their state representative or senator themselves.
Okay. So then that would be, it would just fall on them to individually, like say in Austin, Mayor Watson would have to actually go to the Capitol, which I think he does anyway, but he would have to spend a little bit more time rather than spend our money.
I don't even know if they would do any more time. I really don't understand what they think they're doing. Like, in reality, if it was about being heard by their state rep, they could just text them or call them. Like, there's not a mayor out there that doesn't have a relationship with their state rep or their senator. They really do want to fight taxpayers. Like, I don't think this is a non-malicious accident that they want to use your money against you. Because if it's about communicating with a legislator, telling them their position on a bill, they could do that the way you and I are talking right now.
On our podcast? That would be so awesome.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
I hope I'm going to try to find this thing real quick because you are exactly right. And there was this. Oh, here it is. I got it. Watch this thing really quick because it is exactly what you were saying. And let's share this.
Senator Hall? Thank you, Madam Chair. You say you were hired by Harris County? That's correct. So we're using taxpayer dollars for you to come up here and testify against a bill that's going to benefit taxpayers. Yes, sir. Thank you.
You didn't even argue with it.
You got it.
Hey, back to the union dues. Why did you you're a smart guy. You're thinking about what you're saying. Why did you limit it to teachers? What about municipal employees, police, firefighters? Like, why just teachers?
Because for some reason, the majority of members of the elected class, the Republican Party, seem not to be as bothered by public sector unions as other conservatives. So the teachers have brought it enough on themselves that everybody's kind of like, yeah, we're not part of the union brotherhood with them. Y'all can treat them differently, but also they are the worst, and they should be stopped. They're dealing with children. It's a problem.
Yeah. Why are they the worst?
Yeah, we just discussed it. What do you think, Brad?
Why are the teachers unions the worst?
Yeah, the power that they've got.
Well, I mean, I think that the education system that we have now is also sort of doubles as a jobs program, and they're all paid by the state, so they get state funded. Their paychecks are paid by the state and paid by taxes. And so they have a lot of power, because if a representative or someone running for office says something negative about, I don't know, teachers unions or something like that, then that would be a lot of people that are automatically saying like, well, I'm not going to vote for that person. So people kind of feel like they need to be nice to them. But they also fight on school choice. They fight on a lot of issues. If you want to talk about, I don't know if they fight on the transgender stuff. I'm not real sure about that, but they fight about a lot of stuff that I think, generally is good. There are good things that should pass.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
I think they're bad.
Okay, fair enough.
Gotta stop them.
Well, it's all about the teachers for them and not about the students. I remember during the pandemic, I think it was like one of the California teachers union, might have been the state union, was pushing back against them doing virtual because they didn't want to do in person. Obviously, they felt they were going to get sick, but then they started pushing them against virtual because they said that, teachers felt that you were imposing on them by forcing you to kind of be in their house. And I'm like, so you guys just don't want to teach kids. Like, that's what it comes down to. Like, you just don't want to do anything. So yeah, a lot of teachers unions seem to share that attitude, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Big problem.
Well, so what about, let's see. So we talked about taxpayer funded lobbying, teachers, unions. I hope you do ban union dues collection, something that's been a pet peeve of mine for a very long time. So I would love to see that. I know Michael wanted to talk about this is definitely like a switch, but Epstein. And so Michael, why don't you lay the groundwork for this, because you're the Epstein expert.
I'm not an Epstein expert.
Yeah, you're an Epstein expert.
Not a bad way.
I just noticed that on January 3rd, not to be specific, you tweeted Epstein did not kill himself. So one, I want you to expand on that. And then two, I really believe he was a construct. He was created by someone. He's a character in a movie, if you will. So my second question would be, do you believe that? And if so, who created him?
Ooh. That's awesome. Also, by the way, though, Charles, there is video out there. I'll try and find it for you. I think it's on Twitter. Instead of saying move passage on a bill this session, I walked to the microphone and said, Epstein did not kill himself. and like no one caught it. It's out there. Like someone else caught it and like put it on the internet.
Of course.
Yeah. And then there were some other things. Epstein did not kill himself, which is just true. A construct. You're gonna have to explain that one. Look, why did I say it? Because I think it's real. I think that's what happens, and no one denies it. That's the amazing part. How often we all seem to be really cool with it. It's almost like there's a technique by literally not denying it. Actually, which there's a political technique, like when you're attacked, not denying it. No one's talking about it, so no one's saying it's not true at all. Everybody believes it, and we're just going around ignoring it. I think there's a lot of things in our government that everyone just knows is real. And by not addressing it and saying that's nonsense, it just kind of continues the myth, the legend.
Like
but in this case, the legend's true. But
what else you got? Aliens? Is that what you're alluding to? Or you got something else for us? I mean, we all believe in aliens here, I think. I mean, I think Brad's kind of 50-50, but the rest of us believe in aliens.
Fuck?
I don't know. Do you believe in aliens, Brad? I know we've had this conversation before, but like, are you all in?
Yes. I don't know if they came to the Miami Mall like Michael Searle does, but I think that they're probably real. I think that what Michael's referring to, as far as being a creation, I think he's referring to intelligence agencies such as the Five Eyes, the Australia, Canada, New Zealand, United States, United Kingdom, those intelligence agencies creating like honeypots and stuff like that, and that Epstein was a part of that scheme.
Huh. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, he's Gatsby. He was fitted with a backstory. This is what I want to be true. It's not necessarily what I believe. We have to be able to distinguish between those things, right? He was fitted with a backstory. He was given a bunch of money, and he was I don't know if he was directed, but he went out and got blackmail on people so that they could use leverage to get decisions made or votes taken to, and that seems to be the logical explanation for what's happening here. Nobody knows where his money came from. It's not hard to pull SEC records. Apparently he was a money trader or a currency trader, but nobody's pulled a single SEC record that shows anybody doing any trading with him at all. So who is this guy?
Interesting. I don't know. Who was this guy? We mean
was correct.
Was he killed? I don't know.
Well, it's kind of like Tupac question. You know, it's still out there. We'll never know the answer.
He was
that.
murdered.
I mean, yes,
Yeah.
But he may be on an island somewhere. I mean, you know, it's just kind of still there. Yes, he's probably murdered, but you just never know, right? Anyway.
Well, Tupac gets a hologram at Coachella. I don't know that Epstein's going to get the same treatment. Maybe one day. Maybe at Bohemian Grove he'll get a hologram.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably at the Golden Globes.
Uh-oh. There's Briscoe. Yeah. Actually.
We're good. Bohemian Grove. Continue.
Hell yeah. So I don't know, Michael, did you want to expand on the Epstein stuff, or are you done with that?
Yeah, I'm done with it.
Michael, how many times have you been to Bohemian Grove?
This year?
Uh-oh.
Never.
I'm from California.
I am from Northern California. Well, this is like Bohemian Grove's like Redwoods, like Sonoma area. I'm from way north, way up north. So never, unfortunately. I like owls, so I know someone. I should have gone.
It's never too late.
I know someone that's been to Bohemian Grove. I won't say their name or anything, but I know them, and they I don't think they were high enough in the echelon to like really get down in the deep and dirty about what's really happening at Bohemian Grove. So, you know, no Alex Jones stuff from him, but or her. I guess it's a guys club. I don't know. So, Briscoe, I wanted to ask you because as the Biden administration rolls on, and as I guess it doesn't really have to be the Biden administration, it just seems like this happens no matter who's in office. But the federal government continues to grow and insert themselves into our lives more and more, regulations and whatnot, taxes and everything, the border, of course. And I guess, you know, everyone's favorite, probably definitely Charles's favorite, Bernie Sanders is trying to introduce a bill that would officially reduce the full-time work week to 32 hours a week. And I'm wondering, I mean, you can comment on that specific idea if you'd like, but more so, you know, is Texas, how will Texas prevent more government overreach like that, more federal government overreach like that? Seems like every time we do it, we get sued or something like that, and it doesn't really pan out that well.
Yeah. Man, it's such a complex topic when you really think about like why we tolerated it. And we're not going to give up the fight. I don't think like that's not in y'all's personality. It's not in mine that we're not going to continue to try and fight the growth of government. But in reality, like, man, it's almost like the West has fallen. Right? The idea of telling how long people can work. I mean, that is a Western ideal of just hard work. Like, you work hard. Why are you working hard? Because that's what we do. It's just what you work hard. That is an iconic thing that you're supposed to have. There's these characteristics and we're just seeing them all over attack. And the West is fallen, I think, or it's really almost there. And those ideals, that's all going to be gone too. That a government of limited powers can only happen with the moral people who have those ideals. And I think it's kind of seems like it's over.
So, I mean, when you say that the West has fallen or that it is going to fall relatively soon, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with that. I think that's an interesting discussion. But what does that look like in your eyes? I mean, you know, if it has already fallen, what's it going to look like in 5 years? Or, you know, if it's about to fall 6 years, 7 years, whatever the case may be, what does that look like? What happens?
It's fascinating. I think visually it may be different than what it means for our rights, our liberties, which of course are also tied to spending and everything else. I think visually it may be, I don't know, that people open their stores when they feel like it. Like when you're in other countries, you show up to the gas station, you're like, they're not open yet. And no one's keeping regular hours. It's just food's on the shelves when it is.
Yeah.
I mean, things happen when they do. It's just I think it would feel like you're living in another country. Technology happens when it feels like it. And just everything's different. I don't know. I've been in America too long.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, what it will look like is, you know, who actually knows, but it's not going to be pretty, I don't think.
No.
Well, it kind of feels like it kind of feels like, you look at these other countries and they fall and you have civil wars and all this stuff. And I don't know if we're ever going to get back to that because it doesn't seem as though the people today are made of what the people in the past were. But it does feel like if it falls or soon to be, we're going to just be living in a place where people are accepting everything that government does. I mean, we're already living there, right? Like in a lot of places where people just accept what happens. They don't push back. They don't fight anything. You know, he changes the work hours to 32 hours, so people just accept it. And like, it's just not what it once was. That's kind of how I envision it. Less apocalyptic and more just kind of like subservient, and everybody just kind of comes to accept it. And then if you don't, you're I don't know, a rabble rouser. You get banned on X or something. Like, I'm not sure.
Yeah, totally. No, we've totally allowed them to be our dad or our protector, and it really, really stinks. And we've accepted it.
Briscoe, can I pitch an idea to you? Can I pitch an idea to you for some possible legislation?
Come on.
So there was a was it a rally? I don't know. It looks like there was maybe 15 people there, but there was a rally outside Austin City Hall yesterday to call on city leaders to invest in homeless and affordable housing programs. And I posed the question: how much more investing do they want? We've spent hundreds of millions of dollars on this, and it's not slowing down. What is it that they want? How much money is enough money? And everyone always talks about, we need a third-party audit of the city of Austin or of homeless spending or something like that. Really get down to the nitty-gritty, where this is money is going, how well is it being spent, right? Would it be a wild idea to introduce legislation at the Texas Ledge that says, I don't know, any city government that spends X amount of dollars or any amount of dollars on a certain program has to have a third-party audit every 2 years or 3 years or whatever the case may be?
No, it's not wild. I'm trying to think. I passed a law this session that went to the governor that does some auditing of state government. So I don't think it's a bad idea to bring it down to the locals. But I do like where you were going there, Brad, for a moment, which is like, it almost seemed, which is, how about they just not spend the money?
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Then they wouldn't have to audit it.
Well, that would be a dream come true, Briscoe, and I've sort of given up on some of those dreams. Maybe one day we'll get there, but every time that someone talks about, well, we need to audit this stuff, and we had Michael knows about this, was Prop K or something like that back in 2016, trying to do a third-party audit of the entire city of Austin, and it got labeled as some sort of outside Koch brothers funded campaign to bash liberal bastion of Austin. And it was all just really dumb. But if it was required to happen, at least they couldn't say that. I guess they could still say it.
Yeah, I like the fiscal transparency. It sounds great. And sometimes that kind of stuff helps gum up the works. They want them to do it if they have to get audited.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime we can discourage their bad actions.
We discussed having it be required every 10 years as a piece of legislation, or when SB2 was happening in 19, we talked about tying it to a tax rate election increase. Like, if you're going to go ask voters for more money, you got to go through one of these audits to make sure you don't just have savings in your budget already that you could identify and use that revenue. But there's been some discussions about mechanisms to get that as a requirement. I mean, the state has a sunset process. Why don't cities and counties have similar reviews, such as third-party audits?
Interesting. I'm not sure, but what have the results been of our sunset process? I mean, the idea being originally that we were going to end stuff. Very rarely does any of it end.
True.
What are we sunsetting? Now, there have been some things, but we haven't got rid of them. We've combined them. Like, we might put this agency into another one. We didn't really shrink government, right? Like, I mean, maybe you made it more efficient. Like, you got rid of a few bureaucrats. But we haven't done that. I'll tell you on a funny one. We all thought it was going to get more efficient as we went paperless. No, spending has increased since we went paperless, by the way. We had to hire more tech nerds. Yeah. It used to be a whole lot easier to just put the thing in a box. Every time they want to go paperless, and I've seen this in our budgeting, there's more what we call FTEs. So we had to hire more people to not have paper. It costs more to go paperless, damn it. Now, it does make supposedly efficient, right? It's cheaper maybe in the long run that you had a Public Information Act request and you need some documents and they're readily available inside some database. But that's just gotten more expensive.
You just had something that struck a chord with me. Public information request. Can you guys fix it? Fix it, please. I am sick and tired of submitting public and Brad, I know this is his thing
I
too.
get a text message from Charles Blain about like every 3 months complaining about it, asking somebody to fix the PIA process.
Crazy. It is crazy trying to get information from government. And when you cannot get information from government, you can't do anything because you don't know what they're doing. And I know Brad has this problem. I know Holly Hansen with the Texan has this problem. I know everybody, even I was watching ABC 13 the other day, and they said it too. They were like, you never get any information. And then when you file it with the AG, you don't get any information then. And I'm like, well, yep. I do everything I can and I get no information.
It's problematic. They've got to get to where, are you talking about, especially, and I see it too, where the local government's default is to appeal to the Attorney General's office and not give you the information.
Yeah.
And they're constantly losing. That is abusive and annoying, and something need to be done about it. I don't know what it is. There are some steps that need to be taken.
I mean, I think that all public information should be immediately available online and free of charge, since it is our information done in our name with our money. I don't know why I have to request to know what they're doing in my name with my money. I should just know already. But that's maybe
but then they'd have to pre-scrub what might be excluded. We can debate. We might debate over the exclusions, and that's literally an appeal to the AG. The Attorney General's office, the city will say, this information is excluded, and then I have to come in. I've done this. I've litigated for clients before. I then have to go to the Attorney General's office and go, that is not excluded. It's got to be made public. So maybe there'd be some lines then, but I think there's a way to do it. Yeah, where you put it online, and if the thing is redacted, and you think and they can maybe even have a comment near it that says, here's why we think it shouldn't be made public. I guess you could somehow appeal that and still maybe get the unredacted document. I'm digging it. Look, because we just want to be able to, especially with optic read and scanning stuff, I want to be able to keyword search things, right, and find out what's out there. Yeah.
Well, yes.
Make it transparent.
Well, here's another idea. Maybe like with the counties, where if they're not explicitly allowed to do something, they can't do it. With the cities or not cities, with everybody for public information requests, you guys lay out a series of things that are prohibited: phone numbers, medical records, things like that. And if it's not in there, then they got to release it. Like something has got to change, because this is ridiculous. It is absolutely absurd. Every public records request I file with Harris County, the default is to send it to the state. Houston, 95% of them, 5% they'll give me, but it's crazy. It's crazy. Kills me.
Yeah. By the way, it happens to me too when we make these requests. It's right, like they don't give me a special pass; they fight us as well. So,
I thought you guys had a special pass and they still fight you? It's ridiculous.
Yes, I know. I just did one of over to Huffman ISD. I'm going to keep looking at it, and I need to make one today to the TEA regarding Huffman ISD. So this is one of the ones that, and I represent Huffman ISD, that one of the ones that did some electioneering, but then come to find out, like in November 22, the superintendent during school hours puts students on a bus into middle school so they can vote for a bond, man. And the TEA allegedly, so I'm not sure, Mr. Morath, if I got my facts right, but like, your agency didn't do anything when told about this. Which may not be in y'all's purview, but yeah, some of these local governments are a little out of control. I used to really like my superintendent in Huffman. They're the model school marshal program where teachers have, firearms on them. They're kind of the model program outside the school where it lets you know, like, hey, we might have guns in here. They were like the first one to really do that. But I'm concerned they're still part of this good old boys club that doesn't want to mess up the gravy train for the bureaucrats in public education. And I'm looking into it, but I'm getting some roadblocks. So the PIA, the Public Information Act, does certainly need to be reformed for everybody.
Great. At least we've got consensus here, thankfully. It should be a bipartisan thing.
Not me.
What?
I said it should be a bipartisan thing. I don't know why anybody would oppose it.
Do you understand the public information bureaucracy that you're creating right now by making everything publicly available? We just talked about moving from paper to tech. Can you imagine the city of Austin, the number of FTEs they're going to hire to implement this thing? You're going to have like a department the size of the police just to make all the documents publicly available.
I don't care. I want to know what they're doing and saying and why and how much money they're really spending, what they think about all this homeless spending. Maybe there's some emails out there about them saying, oh, we fucked up this program and we don't know about it. But if we did, maybe we could say, hey, Kirk Watson, You know that this program is fucked. Why are you still doing it?
I'm more just playing devil's advocate.
Don't do that. Come on, Michael. Ugh.
Well, the one public records that I made recently that they actually responded really quick was University of Houston. I requested to find out how much they're spending on this like abortion statue. They turned that around in like 48 hours without hesitation.
An abortion statue?
Yeah, it's like an ode to abortion, but it's like also Ruth Bader Ginsburg, but it's also like this weird Baphomet creature. It's very strange and very weird, and I don't understand.
Yeah, it was in New York, Brad.
Is it just like a bunch of baby body parts spread around? Like, what is? That's
no. It's like it's like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, but with this like weird like.
It's not RBG at all.
That's what they say it
look like her.
I know that, but that's what they say it is, and it has this weird like I can try to pull up a picture. It's very strange. I don't know how to explain it, but they put it at. It was in New York. They brought it to the University of Houston. I guess it's gone on tour or something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's where we are.
Crazy.
And that guys, by the way, I may have went to the University of Houston. I have voted against every U of H bill I possibly can, like every single time. They're like, we want to do law school. No. And now I lost that vote, just to be clear. But it was like, no, because they do dumb stuff like this.
Yeah. Your point before about kind of the West has fallen. Why do you think people are complacent today? You think it's education? I know a lot of people point to like the education system and kind of making everyone complacent and just falling in line and not asking questions. Why do people not fight? Like, I feel like people used to fight. There are people who fight today, but by and large, the general public is very complacent about things. And why do you think that is?
I think we all know on here can point to a lot of things. Of course, I'd like to blame like the breakdown of the nuclear family and the lack of fatherhood and these other things of why we've got a wussified America. And then someone's going to be like, well, but I was raised by wolves or my mom and I'm tough. Like, Mom, we're talking generally, people. There's always exceptions, but we realize the attack on masculinity, of course, could be one. But how do you value human life? Right? We could look at that. And how do I care about my neighbor? And when you do, then you care about their rights. And when you do, you also think like you're stealing from them, which is what government does a lot. Those things matter. But if you don't see your fellow man as something that should be protected and defended, then maybe you don't care what's happening to them or their liberties. And so maybe you're only just worried about yourself. I don't know. I think it's a much deeper system. But that metric of respecting other people and other people's property, I think is a much more important thing than people realize. That if you have that basic thing down, that when you draw it out, it would be a better society for sure.
For sure. It's been a slow creep for sure. And I got a question for you. How much do you think the foreign policy, interventionism, going and telling other leaders how they should run their country, how much do you think that has to do with our inability to deal with and look at the problems we have here? We're just like, oh, it's so bad over there. We got to go fight over there. Go tell them how to live. And we're not looking at what's happening here.
I have a feeling you may have some more well thought out answers, but it's fascinating you say that. Yesterday I was out fishing with some friends, and someone kind of brought up a similar thing. They go, well, yeah, but it's not as bad as it is there. Like we've still got it good in America. And you're like, is that really our standard? That's not a good standard, because we could have pointed at that country 5 years ago and be like, we look just like him. It's coming. I think I want to hear what you have to say though, because it's, if you use that idea, which is like, we still got it pretty good, guys, then we're always going to be ignoring what's really happening because we're able to point to the problems over there.
Yeah.
Right? It's like a distraction.
Yeah, it's a psychological trick that is being mass played on us. Edward Bernays and propaganda and the mainstream media and all the politicians. And the reason we go around the world is because we can project our feelings about what's happening out at home onto other countries and then say we need to fix those over there, instead of focusing inward and saying what the fuck is happening excuse my French, what is happening in our country and how do we address it? We're saying we need to send $160 billion to Ukraine to secure their border instead of just saying, let's spend 160 billion here to secure our border, whatever the cost is. I think it's an intentional psychological trick by whoever created Epstein to get us to not focus on up here.
Even the argument of like, we do this, but not this, right? So the argument of we give cell phones to, illegal aliens, but don't take over homeless or something. And I'm always going like, how about we neither?
Yeah.
Like giving people's money away, regardless of what special project it is, like is still bad, right? If taxation is theft, it's still then wrong to give it to a homeless person, which, and of course the policy doesn't work either. It's still an odd one to go, we were taking care of their border, but not ours. Like, well, I guess in that instance, it's fine. But generally, how about we just not? How about we not do either one of them? Usually the government spending is just bad to begin with. And it's really odd that we say, well, we'll spend over there. Why don't we spend it here? How about we not spend it? That would be cool. We could start there as well.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like where I'm frustrated is I see this, like in Ukraine, we're spending money here. But at the same time, like my grandma was telling me this the other day. She's like, we keep doing all this stuff for illegal aliens. And she's like, and like, I can barely pay my my mortgage. And she was like exaggerating a bit. I mean, she's good, but at that age on fixed income, things are tough. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like this social safety net that exists. And, I know that it's not popular, but I do think that we need to have some sort of social safety net. It exists. But yet we spend so much time focused everywhere else and everybody here dies. Why are you shaking your head, Brad? What?
I mean, I didn't know you were such a bleeding heart lib.
I'm not. I'm just saying we spend money everywhere else. And yet, the roads here I have potholes everywhere. It's frustrating.
It's because you live in Houston.
Well, that is because I live in Houston. Yes, you're correct. Mm-hmm. Michael, who is Edward Mayonnaise?
What?
Bernays?
Yeah.
Edward Bernays. He's I don't know what I would call him. He founded the Trilateral Commission, which is like the US's propaganda arm. He's like the godfather of modern propaganda and manipulating the public, and
Oh, interesting.
Look him up.
But I'm gonna get canceled now.
But you'll be
with Michael.
You'll be fine.
Happening. Awesome.
It's always a risk with me on the show.
I'm not offended at all. I think this would be a better conversation with a glass of something. That sounds fun.
Always.
All right, so we're starting to come to the end. I mean, I know we asked about kind of what you're looking forward to next session. You're going back. I mean, are you hoping to focus more on agricultural issues? Like, where do you think your focus is going to be? I mean, what are you looking most forward to? I think we already talked about low-hanging fruit that was left from the past. So yeah. So what's the horizon look like for you?
I'm going to keep going towards the unsexy issues of ag and livestock. It's been a topic I've kind of really, really continued to study through the interim. I'm waiting for my charge to come out, but no, like food security is a real issue. The reason our beef is getting too damn expensive is due to government policies. Texas is now importing beef. Hold on for a moment. We don't have enough damn beef of our own. We're bringing it in. That's a problem. The Brazilians are globally kicking Texas beef butt. Okay, we're losing. It's a problem, and it's from overregulation, and that's a problem for food security when someone else can hold over our head our national security. That's freaking important. Yeah. So look, I repealed counties' power over slaughterhouses last session. There's still a lot of things, these just tiny little regulations that are getting in the way and rising the cost on the small farmer, on the small ag producer, that then shifts our, I guess, our stability to other things. And for years, I guess we were hearing about these concerns with Bill Gates and them buying up ag land and what all that means. And because it's not sexy, you don't really pay attention to it. And now that I got into it, I started learning about it. I'm like, oh, this is actually a really, really big deal.
Interesting.
Like, food security really is national security. Your ability to provide for yourself is a big freaking deal. The fact that there are governments that don't want you to do that is a problem. I mean, we had to pass this right to farm thing that y'all may recall was on the November ballot for the constitutional amendments. That actually was an issue. I kid you not, there was a city in Texas that was fining people for having hay in the field more than 5 days. Like, you need to get your hay bale out of there. your crops are too high.
Yeah.
And that's literally like a regulatory taking of how to stop people from growing corn. Let's say it's an area where corn grows best, and I say you can't have anything over 10 inches. And they really are doing this stuff. It's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think people, to that point, I was having this conversation last night. I think a lot of people look at, especially a lot of people outside of Texas, some inside of Texas, look at Texas as kind of this bastion of freedom. You can do what you want. It's leading the way. But you look across the state and a lot of these local governments are doing stuff like that. And it's not, when you open up the hood, it's not always what you make of it. And it's great to have people fighting to change that.
I like it.
So real quick question. I know you got to go, but this whole thing is sparking my curiosity. You're obviously a small government conservative, doesn't like the use of government power, probably closer to libertarian, maybe anarchist. I don't know if I'm describing you correctly.
Look, violence is bad.
Yep.
And government does things with violence. I just want to remind everybody that.
Yeah, no. So the new kind of wing of the party, the MAGA wing, if you will, they are a little bit more inclined to use government power to force outcomes they want. So have you thought about, I don't know, this is drastic, but have you thought about using the power of government to prohibit importing beef from certain places as a means to uplift the Texas farmer? I'm just throwing ideas out.
Yeah.
No,
man, force is bad. Yeah, you kind of just hope. You got to go with it. If the moral decline is the moral decline, then we fail.
Yep.
It's still not cool to force. That is one of the hardest ones to be able to just get over. And I'm sure I've not always been perfect on voting on that. But no, we're just going to fall. The populists have won for now, I guess. Maybe they're the loudest part of the party. I'm not really sure. But I do know one thing is that we've got to at least unite against the other side. I still think there's an enemy that is worse outside of my party than inside my party. And we can fight those statists. And I think we just need to spread the message of liberty and of human dignity and of why populism is not about individual and why that is not a good thing. That the individual flourishes from protecting the individual's rights, not that of the community.
But we do still like communities, just
yeah. But people can.
I know. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
The community is the outgrowth. A healthy community is an outgrowth of the individual.
Yes.
It's natural.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. Awesome. Well, thank you for this. This was great. We had the chairman of the Texas House Committee on Agriculture here. And I will say, before we let you go, give Brazil some credit. They do have really good beef, as does Chile and Argentina, and lamb. But yes, we should be having our own, and we should not be relying on South American countries to supply our beef. So I agree. Just saying. They have good wine too, but okay. Thank you, Briscoe, for joining us. You guys got anything else that you want to run by him before he goes?
No,
thanks,
thank you, Briscoe. I really appreciate it.
Handsome hats, guys. Handsome hats.
Tell the great folks of House District 128 that we appreciate them and that they should watch this podcast.
All right. Watch the podcast.
See ya.
Thanks, Briscoe.
Well, that was fun, guys.
Are we gonna get some BCM legislation going?
Maybe. Yeah. I could see us now standing up there, holding the legislation, signing stuff.
Hats backward. I believe that. I mean, we may have just had some headway there, getting some good bills passed. I know Michael doesn't like it, but that's fine. I mean,
I gotta put if three people on the show agree on something, I gotta just offer the counter.
Fair,
But no, that was fun. Briscoe, maybe he's just not old enough yet. He's not willing to use government power to force his outcomes that he wants yet. But I had a feeling that was going to be his answer, and I tend to agree with him from a principled standpoint. The forces marshaling against the individual, as he would put it, have all the leverage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, listen, I wouldn't be totally against your idea of banning beef from Brazil or other places, or at least limiting the import of it.
Yeah.
But as you also then have to lift whatever it is regulation we have here that's limiting the production of it. But yeah, I mean, it's got to do what you got to do.
I'm not saying that was just what came to mind as I was formulating my thought. Like, I'm not necessarily saying I would advocate for prohibiting beef from somewhere, but it's as chairman of the agriculture committee of the Texas state government, he could certainly come up with some ideas that would limit imports and force regulations to decrease on Texas and produce more here. I would think.
Yeah.
One would think. But more importantly, let's get that PIR stuff fixed, huh?
Yes. Love to do it.
The number one issue. And then we can also, I think that he liked that idea. I'm kind of proud of myself right now because I think he liked the idea of forcing cities to do outside audits. So I don't know. If there's a bill in the Texas House that looks like that sounds like that, and Briscoe Cain doesn't name it like the Brad Swail bill or something like that, I'm going to be a little bit pissed off.
The Brad Swail Audit Act. Yes, it needs that's exactly what it needs to be.
Or the BCM Audit Act, whatever, I'll give the credit.
There is some interest and some momentum on that issue that's been building for a number of years. They did include audits, regular audits, as part of the school finance portion of the SB2, or was it SB2 in 2019? So I know who to connect you with to keep your advocacy going and effective if you want to get involved in that issue.
Michael, there's nothing more effective than talking to a state representative on the BCM podcast.
True. Well, there is.
But whoever Michael wants to connect you to, I hope they are watching the BCM podcast right now, just like I hope everybody else who is hearing our voice right now has watched the entire BCM podcast. And if not, they should go back and start and watch it. And they should also share it with their friends and their family and, whoever else, random people in the line at Starbucks if you want to, and like it and comment on it and tell us if there are topics that we haven't discussed, all that stuff. Am I missing anything else?
When you're standing in line at Starbucks, take your headphones out, Bluetooth or otherwise. If it's Bluetooth, turn them off. If they're plug in, unplug them. Play the BCM podcast on your phone and turn the volume up as loud as possible.
Yes, or get yourself one of these little portable speakers and do the same.
Hell yes. I don't care. At Starbucks, when your local, hipster coffee shop, a fucking movie, I don't care.
The Children's Museum,
especially the Children's Museum, because Michael talked about Jeffrey Epstein.
The Children's Museum.
Well, on that note, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and support us. Thank you guys. It's fun as always. I'll see you next week.
Thanks.
See you next week. Bye.